Hold on, I'm just getting on my Facebook, so hold everybody. I gotta turn this off, otherwise you get feedback. See, you learn that the hard way. Yes. Okay, return to Zoom. So why don't you start talking to our Instagram people?
Hi, Instagram people.
And tell them that we are not saying that you will be happier if you are richer. We're just saying we've got some tips so that you can start learning what we do and how it works to save money and make money, because there is, oh, see, there you are.
Oh my goodness, there's two of me.
Yes, that's okay. But so what there is research that says that up to a certain point, money does make you happier because it pays for your home and your food and your shelter and your water, and you don't have to worry about bills. And that's about up to like 75,000. Now, if you're in Silicon Valley, it's probably like 200,000. But anyway, oh, yeah. That's a joke. But anyway, it's tough out here. So, but after that, that menial amount of like 75,000, then it really is about the money, the growth in money is only incremental happiness. So you really don't get more happy. Like if I had just $100,000 more, or if I had $1 million, I'd be happy. Trust me, we live in Silicon Valley. It's not true. It is not. We know a lot of unhappy rich people.
Oh yeah.
And we know a lot of happy poor people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's all about life is complicated as it is.
Yeah.
I think people avoid doing budgets or avoid. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds of how our parents have introduced us to money and stuff like this. And I think America's, with its tax system, is quite a tough system to understand. But I kind of call it simple economics. I mean, I'm not a guy who loves maths and can do things in my head and stuff like that. But I kind of like to, my basic fundamentals is that if you're starting out and you've got an income coming in of some sort, I would divide it by 31, the monthly amount, 31 divided by 31 days after you've taken off all your expenses. And so let's say you only have roughly $30 left per day to spend. We don't spend over that.
This is tip number one.
He
just jumps in right away. And by the way, I do want to clarify that we aren't actually. I'm not very good at this. No, you're perfect. You're just you. Okay. That I just also want to clarify that we're not exactly. I don't even want to define rich, like whether we are rich or not. By some people's standards, we're super rich. By some people's standards, we're super poor. So like, it's not even about being rich or poor. It's just about managing your money better today. Mm-hmm. And so your first tip is like the simple economics of spend less than you earn.
Okay. Yeah. Spend less than you earn. I mean, it sounds so, simple. Obvious or simple, mm-hmm. But some people just kind of tend to forget that. I mean, obviously we're in a generation now of let's get a car and we don't really have the money in the cash, but we can borrow on interest and stuff. But people have to really sit down and say, well, wait a minute, people are offering me this for $200 a month, but what's the catch? You've got to kind of ask those questions.
Don't borrow money
if you can't. I mean, the thing is that they say that having a house is a good thing to be borrowing on, because it's so expensive, but you need it, and it can go up in value if you look after it.
But don't borrow money for a car. But so part of the thing is that, dear, that I think some people borrow money to buy, and okay, one of our favorite people, we're all over the place this morning, is Dave Ramsey. Okay, this is his Smart Money, Smart Kids. But one of the things he says is that we spend money we don't have to buy things we can't afford to impress people we don't like. Remember that. That is so important. Move over a little bit.
Sorry.
So they can see how handsome you are in your new glasses.
My geeky glasses, my son said. Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you. I think I'm maybe.
So, Laura, will you rate that? We spend money we don't have to buy things we don't need to impress people that we don't like. So, what are you doing? Why are you checking your mail?
No, but I got my list in here. I sent it to you. Sorry.
No. Oh, he's like checking his phone right now.
What I sent you.
Okay. Anyway, this is what live is, right? So,
yes.
Okay. So spend less than you earn. But part of that is don't buy the things that you don't need. I mean, there is this whole movement for minimalism. But I'll tell you, the more money you get and the more stuff you buy, the more miserable you are because you just have more crap.
Well, it's like, if you have so much clothes to look at in the morning to try and work out what to wear, you end up spending more time frustrated trying to work out what to wear. If you only have a certain amount to choose from, you've got to make a decision and move on. Like, I think some guys have said, these very successful entrepreneurs said, lessen your choices or your question. You keep things simple.
Steve Jobs, Obama, Zuckerberg.
Wearing a black
polo neck
was just the same thing he would do with it, to lessen the stress that he says is so unnecessary because it eats up his time of the day. And like, I would think money and doing, I know budgets are horrible, etc. But if you have a conscious feeling about it and you're consciously looking, I prefer to pay in money, with money in hand. If I have
with cash
in hand, I know do I need to really spend that? Ooh, I took this money out on Monday and I've got how much left. It makes me feel about it, and you're more consciously aware about it. It's kind of, I would say,
use cash instead of credit.
I remember a flatmate of mine who hated ironing, and I just never understood her, that she'd leave it till the end of the month to iron, and it would take her the whole day to iron this massive pile of clothes. I would iron every Sunday, and it would only take me like 20 minutes, half an hour. It didn't become stressful or frustrating. I didn't like it, but I knew if I was on top of it, things became easier. A
lot of these kids on Instagram don't know what ironing is. So back in our day, you had to use this hot thing to get wrinkles out of your clothes.
Well, if you're still at home, or you're thinking because you see your parents can have a cleaner or a housekeeper. I mean, I think that's, up to people's opinions if I can afford to do that. But if children are thinking, well, I'll just get a cleaner to do that for me. Well, let's talk about how much that costs, and can you afford it?
Yeah, they just don't iron anymore.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next tip?
Well, when I'm looking at spend less than you earn, etc., but working out and your monthly bank accounts, just look through it, because there's always something there that maybe you've missed, or you need to save on. Because after you've done your working out of how much have I earned per month and how much am I spending on expenses, if it is turning to be a minus, then obviously there's something you've got to do. You've got to stand still and say, right, I'm going to look at my statement, look at every line item, because you want to know where your dollars are going, where your money's going. Because if you don't allocate it, it'll walk out the door. It will just easily go out the door.
You got to know what you have. Yeah. So if you're making $1,000, but you're spending $1,500.
Well, you got a lot of credit card debt.
I
think that's the case.
So if you're spending if you're making $1,000 and you're spending $500, what do you do with the other $500?
So we say you're plus 500.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So you're saying that you put first is to pay yourself.
Pay yourself first. So that means you don't put it just in the credit card, in the checking account. You move it into a savings account. You move it away from your major account that pays for bills. So you're paying yourself first. You think you're paying yourself first by going into the checking account. Well, actually, it's something you need to move it across to somewhere else constantly, a certain amount that you can afford. But you've got to work that out as well. But when you move it across, say it's 500. I would want to have an emergency fund of $1,000. You can get to that first before any other debts you want to pay. If you can get to that first, then that helps you to have some kind of cushion, and then move on about paying your smallest debt off as quickly as possible first. But before we get into that stage, you want to look at your expenses and say, well, how can I improve? What am I spending on? What do I need to do? Well, I find that mobile phones, TVs, all these things, negotiate. Go back every year to your provider of internet or TV.
You can always get it for less.
You can negotiate with them. You can threaten, say, I want to pick an accountant because I really find I'm not getting what I want. I'm going to cancel. I heard there was a deal going on at this other company. And when you say those type of words to them, cancel, I want to move away to my competitors, they start sitting up and they will give you massive discounts. And it's irritating because you feel, why didn't you offer me this in the first place?
Right.
But they want to push on your laziness, your apathetic, it's too hard.
Or you just don't know.
But it's when you're trying to cancel them, they want to spin you around all the departments. You say, I want to spin an accountant, the accounting department. That's who's got the authority. You've got to go straight to them and just keep repeating with a big massive sign beside saying no to everything, cancel, 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 because they will persuade you if you don't want to do that. We switched over to Rocco, which is simply you buy for $50 a little box, put it in the back of your TV, and it's got all these programs you can watch with no advertising, no nothing. And it saved us by $100 a month.
You know what? There's a really good book, this reminds me, called The Millionaire Next Door. And that is like Barry's mentality, is these little tiny things that add up. So a lot of people would be like, oh, what am I going to save? Like, you know, it's going to be a lot of hassle to save $15 a month. But if you were to save that $15 on your internet, or another $12 on your phone, or another $30 on your groceries because you're buying in bulk, you know, I mean, that all those things, they add up.
Yeah. So so do things small. Don't be defeated. Oh, I've still got that massive debt. Well, that's a mountain you got to climb. You're starting out from the bottom when you start out looking at how to start. I need to start attacking that. But you do small debts first. And you can do the small.
Wait, don't go into debt yet.
Yeah, well,
Okay, hold on. Let's stick to the list. I know you get very excited. He's very excited about talking about money, which is good, because I have a bad story about money and what I learned. But
so back to those, like, negotiating lots of companies. You can actually go with a company called Beltrim, and they did one for me. They negotiated my internet and got it down for me, and I probably saved $200 over the year, because they dropped it from 80 down to like $60, and I paid them a 10% difference of the amount I saved. That's all. Beltrim's pretty good with that, and they can come back every year for that. So you want me to go back to what I'm
yes, I want you to go back to pay yourself first. What does that mean? So first of all, if you have a job and you have a 401k, you should 1,000 million times % be putting it into it, even if it was $10 a month. That's paying yourself first.
The younger that you are, the better to do that. I mean, you do feel, I just don't have the money. Well, you always have the money somewhere. It's just one of those changing your focus of your mind to certain things. But once you control that, okay, and you're putting it into 401k, because if the company's matching, that is free money being given to you. You can't ignore that. That's something you have to do. But definitely you've got to have an emergency fund of some kind, because you don't want to get into a situation where you've got suddenly no money, the car broke down, and I need to get to work, and you have to pay for someone to get it fixed. You then use your credit card.
So that's paying yourself first too. So into 401k, into an emergency fund, anywhere else?
Well, I would say as soon as you get that $1,000 up, I know it sounds a lot of money, but you'll get there if you just keep
of emergency
putting something aside, $25 every paycheck, or $50 within, I don't know, I can't calculate out in a year, you'll get there. I would then pursue, the next stage would be either, if you are feeling confident and you don't have, if you still have debt, I mean, everybody seems to have debt of some kind, start attacking the debt first. Going into investments, or a company called Acorn, I kind of like for people who are starting out as well, because they round up. Every bill you pay. Acorn, yeah.
ACORN.
Yeah, it's kind of they call it a robo-advisor, so it's very cheap funds, very cheap funds, because they don't have people you're paying a lot of fees for. But what happens is that if you buy something for like $1.99, that 1 cent goes straight to this account, and it's applied to buying a share on your behalf.
Your Acorn account.
Yeah.
So you
and
build
so
up,
you can build
$25.
up without even realizing. It's like change in your pocket. We got change in all this. We don't use coins a lot, but chuck it in the drawer. Well, this is their way of saying, well, that spare change that you don't see.
Chuck it into a smart drawer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would even go back basically about how you have a consciously feeling about money in your hat. The envelope system is quite good to say, okay, I'll start with a simple one envelope on, this is my lunch envelope. I think I spend $50 a week. Okay, well then take what you think you need per day from that amount for that week, and see if you still can survive on that $50. It gets you consciously thinking, what should I go and get?
Where's my money going? Because if you're always using debit cards and credit cards, then you are not watching where your money's going.
Yeah, I mean, if you added up Starbucks, I mean, I'm on basic coffee, and that can be, if I was going out to have coffee in the morning, coffee, lunch, whatever, that's 2 coffees a day. That's about, $4 or $5 a day.
It adds up.
It adds up incredibly by the end of the, people have been saying $600 to $1,000 a year. If you do it at home, you can cut that in half, but obviously people are out all the time. But you got to think about.
That's what a thermos is for.
Yeah, that's very true. There you go.
See, we have an answer for everything.
Good practical thinking there, you see. Okay.
That's because my husband has me thinking practically.
Yes, but you still haven't looked at the knife.
Shh, don't tell them.
Okay, so yes, we're kind of looking down here now. So yes, what Dave Ramsey, and this is a kind of book.
Okay, so we are not paid by Dave Ramsey,
No,
although Barry is
I'm in
a
the middle
coach
of it.
for the Total Money Makeover. He has a podcast, he has a website, he's got 1,000 books and programs, a lot of free stuff, really, really sensible, easy ways to get information about how to manage your money and get out of debt.
I mean, an overarching thing is like you've got 7 baby steps, and I've kind of touched on them and saying that the first step is basically set up an emergency fund. Try to get through the $1,000 as soon as you can. The second step is basically then looking at your smallest debt, and once you pay that smallest debt off, say it was only, but say it took you 3 months and it was like $50 whatever every month or something like that. Then once that debt's paid, that $50, you should then move on to your next debt. And so do little steps to get you say, hey, I'm moving forward. I've paid something off on a small baby step, and you will get there. But it does take persistence. But more you look at your account, the more you know where your dollars are going, things become easier. I consciously know what we should be spending. So it's just a bit of just being foresight about, is it worth it? Do I need that? Now, there's the other kind of question. Do I want it or need it? The needs are more important than the wants.
Depends on where you're shopping. Anyway, it's so interesting because honestly, a lot of Happier by the Minute is about self-awareness, and it's just about slowing down and being more aware of your thoughts, your actions, what you're doing, how you're spending your energy. And it's all the same with money too. Money is energy. And so where are you spending it? What's the energy you're putting into it? Are you always, okay, one thing I'm going to tell you right now, okay, he can give you the practical tips. He can give you the practical tips. I'm going to give you the spiritual energy tips. First of all, never use the sentence, I can't afford it. Okay, you need to tell the universe, I can afford it. I just am choosing not to spend my money on that. Like right now, I'm going to choose not to spend it on a BMW because I want to choose to use it on food so that I will be alive. You are going to then one day. So the other thing that really worked for me, aside from having somebody that watches the money, is to repeat, and you're going to like totally think I'm crazy, but it works, and he will attest to it. Say this, and Laura, please write this over and over. Money comes easily and effortlessly to me. I will tell you, there have been times when he is stressing about money and I'm all, wheesht, don't tell the universe that. And I will say, you say out loud, money comes easily and effortlessly to us. Yes. And I am not kidding you. Will we get like some random check the next day?
Yes, it's infuriating. Well, not infuriating. It's like
it's so true.
It somehow happens, but it's yeah. There's a lot of things about positive thinking, but you've got to have that kind of mindset of not being, I'll ignore it, put my head in the sand with money. It's there. It's a living thing that you've got to move around. You've got to concentrate on it. It's part of your life. I never liked math. I don't really like it, but I understand the importance. Like I think my dad, without telling me, would just write it down in a book. And I said, that must be important. Whatever he's doing, that must be important. So I get it. I get it, what his actions meant. So sometimes my actions are better than telling my kids about money. You sometimes say, oh, I've got to write that down. I've got to do this. I've got to make sure that adds up with this.
What I love also about Barry is that you are not, there's a lot of things I love about you, but that he is not great. He will say he's not great at math, look at Stacey, Sarah's already telling herself money comes easily and effortlessly. Like, I know it's going to happen for you. I love it. By the way, while you're live, you can ask us questions too on Instagram. So feel free. Let's see, somebody is asking a question, but wait, there was something cool. I was going to say. There was something I was going to say about what I love about you. Oh, that he thinks he isn't good with money, isn't really, a math wizard, and he can still manage money. So that is the thing that I think is super important, is you don't have to be a math wizard. You don't even have to love math to be able to manage your money. But as soon as you manage your money, whether it is $100 or $1 million, you're going to feel so much more comfortable knowing where it's going, knowing what to do with it, knowing that you are in control of it and it is not in control of you, right?
Yeah, well, we have to do one on education because I think algebra and quadratic equations just beat me down. I just felt if I can't understand that, that must mean I'm not good at math. And now realizing it was just something that I don't need to know about.
Well, that's why we're looking at progressive education, but that's a whole nother.
Can I go back to school then?
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole nother topic. Okay, so what else? What time is it? Because I don't have my clock. Okay. Oh gosh, we only have 7 more minutes. Okay, so we talked about. So first of all, awareness. Okay, remember it's about awareness and not putting your head in the sand about money. Okay, you're going to take control. Myths about debt. Don't get into debt. Learn about debt. Don't let, on every college campus, they're trying to get these kids to open credit cards. And, you know, and then there's student debt. Like there's so many ways to go into debt that you don't have to do because you don't need the things that they're telling you you need. Okay? We're telling you you don't need it. Keeping up with the Joneses. There's no keeping up with the Joneses, or just stop being friends with the Joneses, because really what they have, that you don't know if they're happy inside their house. You know, there was this huge bubble in Silicon Valley, and I remember hearing that in one area, all these people had these big McMansions, but then they didn't have any furniture in them. They couldn't afford to buy furniture, but they wanted it to look like they had these big mansions. And it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what, you know, what you really want is a healthy, happy life and family. You want to feel fulfilled. You know, this is what we talk about every other Friday on Happier by the Minute. All the things that bring you happiness that are not about money. So this isn't about get more money and you'll be happier, but this is about how to manage your money so it doesn't add additional stress so that you can focus on the other things.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, you know, keeping up with the Joneses is quite a big thing around here in the Bay Area.
Everywhere.
But I do find that true friends don't judge you. They're with you in everything that you do. So it depends who your friends are and the groups or the people you want to be friends with are that, you know, you've got to qualify. Why aren't you coming us to Hawaii with us this year? Well, we don't have the money for it. Oh dear.
Don't say we don't have the money for it.
Well, no.
We'll
spend it appropriately.
We're choosing to spend it somewhere else, and because we know money comes easily and effortlessly to us.
Yes, sorry. Yes.
Before we end, tell them about apps like Mint. And just so you know, we don't work for anybody. We don't get paid. We're not big enough. We're not important enough.
I have used these, so I'm not giving them out just for the sake of giving them out. Mint.com has been rated as one of the most simplest ones. There's a few other ones out there as well. Some of them you have to pay per month. This is just purely free. It attaches up to your bank accounts and your credit cards if you want to. And it's a good site for just glancing. It pops up with your weekly summary of how much you've spent for the week. You can set up little budgets on what you do for food shopping, for your internet and TV and your kids' activities. You have to go in sometimes and switch the activity around. So what's actually for this kid's school and stuff. And so it kind of helps you keep it in line of what exactly you need to do. So Mint.com, I like it just to keep a summary of what's happening. You don't have to dig deep to it. But at the beginning, I would want you to get into it and try to work it out. Mint.com is a very good summary to keep you on course of what you're wanting to get to.
Yeah, really easy to use.
It's an app. It's just easy.
Deshaun, it's very sweet. Thank you very much. Yes, we are important. We're just not important enough for people to pay us to talk about them.
Samsara, I love Mint.
Yes, it's really, really easy to use and it works. And a honeydew app for couples. Yes.
Hey, Charlie. Hello.
And a honeydew app. Have you tried that? That used to be like for, anyway, it's a way to save money.
Oh, right.
That's really good too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different tools. That's the key. What we want to tell you though, is there are tools. And again, start with self-awareness, start with knowing what you have and knowing what you spend, because I cannot tell you how many people we meet who don't even know that. And they just want to put their head in the sand. And it's just really important to,
and I think also as well, both of you have to know what's going on, rather than say, well, you're the one who does it all the time. You can't. Both of us need to be understanding what's going on, because I think then we're on very much on the same page of checking in with each other on certain things. Because I know a lot of couples who leave it with one person, and it's very much, he does everything. He's got the passwords and everything. Well, that's something you really need to be both involved to know where all the financial accounts are, if there's a lot. But both you've got to be talking about it pretty constantly. I think once a month is always quite good. How are we getting on with it? But then that's all about the marriage counseling as well. It's talking about your highs and lows. What are we doing next week? What are we going to do now? What about we do with this kid or that kid, or our money?
The number one stress in couples is money. They fight about money more than anything.
And you can come from, as I said right from the beginning, you come from two different backgrounds or two different types of what the parents have educated you. Because unfortunately, school should really be more on budgeting and taxes and telling you how to save money.
But we're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Sorry. Zip it up.
But it really, but I think, what you bring to the table and what's your story about money and what you believe about money is really important to tackle too, because a lot of times we put our head in the sand because it causes us so much stress, pain. Do you believe that money is the root of all evil? What are your beliefs about money? That is something to really think about too. And especially as a couple or not as a couple, but if you're just starting to date somebody and you're starting to get to know them, it's really important to know what are their beliefs about money. Do you believe that you're always broke? Oh my God, don't get into that relationship, right? You're not, do they believe that they can't ever catch a break? Or do you believe, like me, it's just money comes easily and effortlessly. And, we've been very, very fortunate.
Don't let money control you. You control what you've earned. It's your money that you worked hard on. Now you should control it and be very tough on it. Like when you're doing bids or whatever, people coming into your house or something like this, right? I want to know how much that's going to cost. I need to find out if there's better competition out there. It's my money. So I can be, people may have a perception that's been rude, but actually I should be in more control of my money because I've earned it.
And don't make it the most important thing. Your joy, happiness, children, friends, family, relationships. I've said often that the longest running study that I think it's at Harvard about a happy life, the longest study has proven that it's not health, it's not money, it is relationships. So that is where you want to invest your time. Let somebody else help you figure out where to invest your money. You focus on relationships, but just pay attention to it. Does anybody have any questions? Ooh, we're getting up on our time. Well, I hope you really enjoyed having Barry as our guest. Careful, that's being held up by Play-Doh, as you know. Yes, she was showing us some other financial apps. That's what you do when you're just starting out. You've got your phone on your, who's that? So that's it. That's all we got. Anything you want to add?
No, but do you want to say, I was thinking of saying,
give another plug.
Anybody you want, if you want me to help you out after,
if you want any advice,
I can give you one of these.
Yeah, he's got a book he'll give out. Oh, that was really nice. So we will send you a book for free if you want. Maybe the first 10 people.
Well,
in case we've got.
I got that 5.
Unless we have 1 million viewers today.
I'm gonna word that wrong.
That's okay. For the first 10 people that Instagram put us a note on Instagram, we will send you one of these. And because we want to help people get more control of their money. And
answer a few questions.
Yeah, absolutely. You can just Instagram us or Facebook us or. Hi. Okay, that's 9:30. Like I said, we come on 9 o'clock every Friday morning. We're done at 9:30 because getting happier by the minute and wealthier by the minute is literally just a habit we have to get into in little chunks. So it's super important just to make this super fast and quick. So thank you very much for joining, and we will see you next week. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and I gotta do this, and we'll see you later. Okay.